Hello, Oracles. How's it going today? Well, here in Connecticut, we've got some storms rolling through, hence the background I have here, a little ambiance to add to it. So if you guys hear any rumbles of thunder, it's all for some reason I lose power. That's probably why as well. But hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody here in the US is having a wonderful and safe holiday. Obviously, we have no market open today, but we'll go over what we saw yesterday in the market when it comes to Tesla. So what's going on, David? Yes, I know, and I know for many of you who what's going on, Moose? I know for many of you who live in other parts of the country or other parts of the world, there's many times you can't get on my normal live streams later in the evening. So hopefully you were able to join me today. Happy 4th. Hello, David. How are you? What's going on, Sal? Yeah, Chicago. How's it going? How's it over there? I don't know. I know that you guys had some smoke over there this past week, so hope that is cleared for you. Yes, fireworks all around. It's funny. I for those of you who are on Twitter, I put a tweet out today. The irony, and it's so fitting that Tesla put out a massive beat in deliveries on the anniversary of the disruption of the U.S. disrupting the British, because Tesla being the one of the most disruptive companies ever in history, and here we are celebrating it. Happy it's only 100 versus 108. It's humid here. I'm already glistening. I have no AC at my place, and I just opened up all my windows, but in my studio I shut the window just to keep the noise out. Oh, you're in Prague? Oh, David. Oh man, I've heard such wonderful things about Prague. I would love to visit there. I've heard it's beautiful. What's going on, Paul? Hello, sir. How are you? Up in my northern neighbor. The temp here right now, actually, I'd have to check. It's probably mid 80s. Mid 80s, but the humidity is super high. So I'm not sure where you are, because maybe the humidity is high as where you are as well. My parents in San Diego, typically it's hot, but it's dry and it's like bearable almost, or you just step into the shade and it's fine. But golly, not here. Now that we're in the third quarter, shouldn't Cybertruck pricing be available now? I have a feeling there's a delay. We kind of sensed it coming. Elon kind of gave us some inclinations that we were going to see a bit of a delay. And so with that, I think we're going to hear about the Highland Model 3 first, and we'll probably hear about that at the Q2 earnings call. And then I think we'll end up hearing about the delivery event for the Cybertruck. And I truly don't know. I think we're going to hear about the Cybertruck delivery event in August. I don't know if we will get pricing at that point or if they're going to give us the pricing at the actual delivery event itself. That's just my thoughts on that. But yeah, we should be hearing about it soon. I just don't think it's as soon as many of us thought. I thought for sure we would be hearing about true production starting by July, which is right now. And that definitely got pushed back from what I thought. I think it got pushed back from what Elon thought. I think Elon was intending on it to be a little earlier, but he's continually saying that it's a very challenging vehicle to produce. How's it going, Melissa? Glad you were able to get on. Hello, Stephen. Yes, absolutely. One day we'll have enough money to travel the world and I'll be able to visit all of you and it will be awesome. Oh, you're in Vegas. Nice. Yeah, hot and dry there, but the heat is definitely brutal. When I was in Vegas, gosh, we were there in August, and even like 6 o'clock in the morning, it was 100 degrees. It was stupid hot. Yeah, Pennsylvania is definitely hot too. Oh man, Paul, I know Central Air. Once I get my own house, I'll have that. I'm choosing to live as frivolously or as frugally as possible right now, and that'll be a little more frivolous later. But I try not to be too frivolous. Patty and Reno, what's going on? Yes, happy 4th. So many of you on here. I love this. I want to make sure I say hello to all of you. I don't want to miss out. Lang, what's going on? Oh, 33 degrees. Yeah. In Malaysia. Oh, yeah. And the humidity there. Definitely. And yeah, there's no way you can hide the humidity. Like you can't go in the shade and be like, oh, let me go in the shade and hide. No, it stinks. The worst part about the humidity is You go take a shower and you step out and you're already sticky immediately. Before you even finish drying off, you're sticky. It's disgusting. Oh, Palm Springs. Palm Springs is so nice. I was there in February years back, and I just remember being in a pool and looking up and seeing the snow-covered mountains. It was awesome. You reckon they'll announce Highland at earnings? They have always said that it wasn't the right forum for new announcements. So it's not the right platform for a new model, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, when they announced the S and the X updates, I thought those were announced at an earnings call. I could be wrong. I thought those were announced at the Q3 earnings call, and then it ended up going into effect right around the January timeframe. So I don't know if the Highland would be considered the same thing. So that I don't know. But I know Elon always says it's not the place to announce an entirely new platform or a new model or new vehicle. I don't know if the Highland is considered a new vehicle. Chris, are you single? I am. For anybody out there, I am single, and I'm currently I'm in a good place. I'm happy with myself. I don't not to get too deep into my own personal self, but I have no problem sharing it with you guys. I would love to have someone. I would love to meet the right woman and spend the rest of my life with them. But currently, that is not the case. So if anybody knows of anyone, I am single. Oh yeah, humidity all year round out there. Yeah, it's gross. Moose, London is cold and wet today. When is it not cold and wet? Seriously, it's like Seattle. Seattle's always just cold and wet. Actually, I take it back. My buddy who lives in Seattle, my old college roommate, he did say that that's the connotation that it's like that in Seattle, but he said there's a good 3-month period between, I think he said July and September, that's absolutely gorgeous. So perhaps England has the same thing. Ooh, no. Where in SoCal are you at? My parents are in San Diego. Oh man, you're in Maui. Oh, I want to go to Hawaii again. Oh man. Will we ever see 200 again? I still think so. Actually, we're going to discuss that today. That's one of the things that's on my plan to talk today. There's been a lot of talks about what's going on. It's all going to be macro related. So whatever I talk about today is nothing bearish about Tesla whatsoever. It is strictly macro related. It's the same thing I've been harping on for the last, almost a year now as to what I think we can see coming. I thought we would have seen it by now. My timing was way off, but I still do think we are going to see this, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah, once Tesla's at 2,000, I will come to Prague. Absolutely. Once Tesla's at 2,000, I will also have a castle in Italy, and I can just go over there and you can come from Prague and visit my castle, and I'll go over there and visit you. Absolutely. Southwest Ontario. Man, Jen Strahan. I was just talking to her. She's planning out her trip, and she's going up to Banff is on her list. I told her that was the background I had in my studio for the longest time. So really looking forward to seeing the pictures from her. Yeah, best humidity is no humidity. Absolutely. Unfortunately, we have no choice here. The humidity is like an affectionate aunt. She just wants to hug on you. Yeah, like, yeah, just getting smothered. It's unbearable. Do you think the stock price will stay up this week? So, actually, we'll get into that in a minute too, because we've got next week is the CPI and PPI. So I'm going to dart into those because the CPI we see on the 15th, and I didn't check the PPI. I'm assuming it's the day after. Usually it's CPI then PPI. So we're going to get both of those. So with both of those coming out, which actually, hold on, am I right on that? Did I look at the right calendar? Give me a minute here. I'm losing my mind. I'm going to bring it up right now so we can all see what's going on. Oh, I had it up. Let me see here. Investing, CPI. Let's get this up on here for you guys to see. Get out of here. So many junk pop-ups. All right. So we are looking at, July 12th. July 12th, we will be getting the CPI data coming out, and that is next Wednesday. So no forecast yet. We will take a look at that when it comes out. Usually that comes out maybe Friday, but definitely either over the weekend or Monday, we will have that forecast. So we will discuss that when it comes up. So obviously previously we had a 4%. So uncertainty going into it. And the reason that could be um, an issue is strictly because of the fact that the market doesn't like uncertainty, of course. And while the Fed paused, they did give us that indication that they are going to be raising the rates 2 more times. Whether it was a Freudian slip or not, Jerome Powell had said we are going to skip this time with rates. So perhaps we are going to see information coming out of the CPI that indicates that we will certainly be seeing an interest rate hike at the FOMC meeting in July. And I'll bring up that. Let me see what the date is on that. I know it's coming. I think it's the 21st. Let me see. Schedule. July 27th to 28th. Oh wait, that was 2020. Why was it bringing up 2021? What? It's going to be close to that though. So this year it is the 25th and 26th. So 25th and 26th, we'll get the FOMC meeting. So we get CPI and PPI, and they kind of give us the indication that, yeah, the Fed's going to be going up on rates. Market could pull back because rates are going up some more. We're already seeing bankruptcies starting to skyrocket. There's a chart I saw on Twitter. I'll try to find it. I'm not sure if I can. But bankruptcies are starting to skyrocket. And this is exactly what we had talked about. This is what Elon talked about as well, is there's a lot of zombie companies out there, a lot of companies that are just dead weight that need to go to the wayside. And what ends up happening is all these companies go bankrupt. All those companies have employees. Now there's a whole lot of people out of work. Unemployment starts to go up. Bills can't get paid. The housing market, I think, is going to be the key. And I'm going to pop that up now. This is what I was talking about before. Let me see, because it was over on Twitter. Oh no, you know what? It was on Instagram that I seen it, but this is still good. This covers it right here. I'll pop it up for you guys. So the Airbnb revenue is down significantly. Now it's down 50%. And a big piece of that is because, people were out there looking to do well, and we all saw what was coming up most recently was like an AI bubble. These companies which were taking off. We had Palantir, Nvidia, AMD, and not to say that they're not worth it, not to say that AI isn't going to do well in the future, but it was kind of a little bit like the EV bubble that we had seen, kind of got inflated past where maybe it should have been, and it's just kind of retraced a little bit. So it hasn't really come back a lot. So it's not like it really popped. But one thing that, looking at what was going to trigger, and we always say, hey, what is the catalyst behind what is going to cause a big market pullback? What's going to be the catalyst that causes the housing market to collapse? Well, you've got a lot of people who had excitement and all of this enthusiasm coming behind Airbnb. And that was it. Like even people traveling was, I don't want to stay in a hotel. I'm going to stay at an Airbnb. That's the cool place to stay. Then because it was such the hot place to stay, demand was through the roof. So all of the Airbnb owners cranked up the prices. Then we get to a point where, we don't have that money anymore. Think about what happened during COVID. A lot of people had free money, but they couldn't travel. Some people did, but travel was significantly down because of COVID. We come out of COVID, and because there was the prices were so high at that point, now people are like, I don't have the same money coming in like I did, and I don't have these free stimulus checks coming in, and I'm trying to be more frugal because the economy is not doing as well. The inflation is super high, so I have my expenses being higher. So I'm trying to be more careful with my travel, but I still want to travel now that COVID's over. But Airbnb prices are so expensive now. It's actually cheaper for me to stay at a hotel, and I will get room service at a hotel versus at an Airbnb where I have to clean up after myself. You put those things together, and a lot of Airbnbs are losing a lot of this money. There are still some areas that are obviously doing extremely well, but it's more of a niche area than just everywhere. So this is kind of where we're at. So it was one of those unforeseen catalysts by many people that, this Airbnb thing could be that big catalyst that triggers this domino effect into the housing market. Think about how many people purchased houses, especially during COVID when we had interest rates nearly zero. People had the money, like, I'm going to buy all these houses to get some income coming in. Now they have no income coming in. Their whole basis of this was they didn't have the revenue, but they assumed that they would have the revenue coming in from the Airbnb rentals. Now they don't have those rentals. They don't have their own personal income that they could put into that house. They're going to have to sell. Now, all of a sudden, the supply for all the houses comes back onto the market, but the prices are way too high, and interest rates being stupid high create a housing market bubble that needs to pop, and we need to see those prices come down. Now, with all that supply coming back into the market, we will have more supply, less demand. That by nature will bring the prices down. But in that process, we will see a lot of these things going on that is going to cause that domino effect market to collapse. So, going all the way back to the question, do I think the stock price is going to stay up this week? I think it's going to stay up. Tomorrow will be obviously the big test. Like, did we see the push yesterday? And then we'll see the sell off tomorrow. And we'll get into the charts in a minute. But I think right now we're kind of at the point where maybe end of this week we see a little bit of a sell-off with the CPI going on Wednesday, or maybe we do continue running to the end of the week, and then on Monday we start to see the uncertainty going on. So I do think we're going to maintain the push up that we saw unless something else comes into the macro environment. I don't think it's going to be anything Tesla specific that brings it down if it comes down this week. How do you think shorts feel right now? Burnt, very burnt. They are on fire, and they're so upset, and they probably cried all weekend like the British did back in 1776. Let's see. Can you believe this guy is single and he's so frivolous? Yeah, I know. I look at me. I live in I mean, I haven't actually, but since I've been living here, I did date one girl. Really nice, just didn't work out. But yeah, it's that's kind of where I'm at right now is, hey, if you're gonna join me for my current lifestyle and what I'm doing, then when I get to my better lifestyle and you've chosen to love me for who I am, then I will make sure it is worth their while. Lang, I'm 43. 43? Yes, 43. I have to do the math sometimes. Yeah, 43 years old. So going to be in San Diego tomorrow. Awesome, Brooks. I love San Diego. Well, I try to get there at least once a year. I don't know if I'm going to make it there this year, but I try to get there once a year. Some think that there won't be much of a short squeeze because Tesla isn't shorted anymore. It's still shorted. It's definitely still is. But the more institutions get into the stock, the less it's going to be shorted. It'll still be shorted, of course, but it won't be shorted like it used to be. So I think the bigger concern we have is, as Elon had mentioned, is people going into margin, because when people go into margin, the same people who can see what levels you're at where you're going to get margin called are the same people who are going to be shorting. So the more they see people going into margin, the more shorts you're going to see, because they're going to try to do the same thing. So instead of having your typical, bull bear battle when it comes to the stock price, you can have a bull bear battle on steroids. So you have like cocaine bear versus steroid bull, and they're fighting each other, and it's a lot uglier, and that's why it's such violent swings when we see Tesla. What happened in my last relationship? I was busy doing what I was doing, basically this, and I was building up this side of it, and she wanted more of a commitment. And not to say I wasn't ready to have that commitment, but it was a situation where I wasn't ready to move as fast as she wanted to move at, and she was ready to, she wanted to really have someone to settle down with. And I was like, I still have some pieces I needed to put in place before I can get to that point. And so she did, and it was a mutual, amicable split. She went, and she's now been dating someone for a while now, very happy with him, and I'm happy for them as well. But that was all it was. Is I still had some pieces of my own personal life I needed to button up first before I could move on to the next phase. Now let's see. Happy Independence Day from Canada. We had Canada Day last Saturday. That's right. I forgot to wish my Canadian friends a happy Canada Day. And your S&P was up 0.25%. Very nice. What's going on, Katie? How's it going? Happy 4th. Wow, seemed far away. Another CPI inherited already. I know. See, with all the stuff that was going on between FOMC and things, it's, we did go on a bit of a stretch there where there wasn't a ton of Tesla news coming out. So it kind of seemed like a bit of time between things. But yeah, it definitely crept up on us. And think about it. So next week we're going to have the 12th, and let me just double check PPI. I'm assuming PPI is going to be coming out on the 13th, and we're just getting sticky in here. Yep, the 13th. So I mean, thinking about what we've got going on, so we've got a CPI on the 12th, PPI on the 13th. Then the following week, we've got earnings already. So we've got Tesla earnings coming on the 19th, the week after we're having CPI and PPI. And then the week after that, we're going to have the FOMC meeting. So buckle up, folks, because I think the whole entire month of July is going to be a wild ride, or could potentially be a wild ride based upon just those data points that we're going to be getting. Isn't Tesla still the most shorted stock in the market? If so, could fly like 747. It is the most shorted big cap stock, giant cap stock. It is not the most shorted stock overall. But when it comes to mega caps, it is the most shorted. But you have to remember, too, that most of the mega caps that are out there are companies like Apple, Google, Amazon. Like they have so much institutional investment in them that people aren't going to short them because it's not worth it. You're not going to, if anybody shorts those companies, it's very short-term swing shorts based upon, hey, we don't think they're going to have a very good earnings, or there's a negative news piece coming out. And that's really all that we see when it comes to those bigger companies. But when it comes to Tesla themselves, we just move a lot more. That's all. When do you see Tesla doing a buyback? I see Tesla doing a buyback when they feel that the market has pulled back. I think, just based upon what Elon talks about, what Zach Kirkhorn talks about, everything we have heard them say on these earnings calls, anticipating what I keep talking about as well. And this is the giant market pullback going on. I think they're waiting for that. Once we see that, because there's no point in them buying now. Like we talked about it yesterday on yesterday's video, which is, we're in extreme greed territory. We're at an 84 when it comes to the greed fear index. That's ridiculously high. And when you talk, about Warren Buffett saying, be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful, right now is not to say that you should be fearful, but it's a time where, just pause. Buying during a time when everyone else is greedy, probably not the wisest thing. So for Tesla to do a buyback now would not be wise. However, if we come back down and as Krispy Kreme will we see 100 again, that all depends on how bad the macro gets. If we do have a massive collapse, we could see it again. Again, it's just one of those things where I'm not trying to be bearish or anything like that, just putting it on the radar of it is possible. So since it is possible, I just wanted to make sure that, everybody's aware that it is possible. And if that happens, that's probably around the time Tesla would end up doing the buyback. Now, when they do a buyback, it doesn't have to be like, hey, we're doing a one giant lump sum buyback. They can announce, hey, we're going to do a $4 billion buyback over the next 12 months. And then they can pick and choose when they want to do it. So maybe we end up hearing about it. Maybe it's like on the Q3 earnings call, we hear about it because they're anticipating over the next 6 to 12 months after that they're going to get a good bunch of buying opportunities. And that kind of opens up the window for them to be able to purchase whenever they feel is comfortable for them. So perhaps we end up getting that news on the Q3 earnings call. And maybe they say, hey, we're going to start, first buyback will come in December or whatever it is. Raymond, 100 after a 10-to-1 stock split. Yeah. The split, who was I talking to the other day about it? Maybe we were on the live stream talking about it. And we will get a split again. I have no doubt in my mind we will get it. It might be 2025, maybe a little bit further delayed. Maybe it's going to wait for, the economy to settle a bit more and Mexico to get fully ramped before that happens. But I think we will see a split. Between 2025 and 2027, we'll see a split. Probably because the stock price will be pushing up near that $1,000 mark. They're going to want to make sure that point with all the new employees that are in, they can all be taking advantage of the employee stock purchase plan. And so with all of that, I think that's the time frame that we're going to end up seeing the next split. Now, when we get to it, because the economy should be in a much better place, last time they did it, they did just the 3-to-1 because, hey, we're not sure what's going on in the economy. And think about it, the stock got pulled down to $100. So I don't think that's going to be the same the next time around. So they may do like a 4 or a 5-to-1 split if we're pushing up to $1,000, bring us down to that $200 to $250 range. So that's my takes on that. How's it going, Tom? Stock split next year? I don't know, Tom. I don't know if we're going to see it next year. Too much uncertainty going on with the macro environment. Let's see. Yeah, housing and nuts. Yeah, hardly anything for sale. So I'm seeing a lot more single family houses for sale around here, but the prices are still ridiculous. Like looking at some of the prices, houses that should be $225,000 by me are like 350 grand. It's unbelievable. Oh yeah, BYD. I was going to bring this up as well. Thank you for bringing that up, David. So I don't know if any of you guys saw. Actually, I'll bring it up here because I had made a comment on it myself. Where am I? There we are. Let's see, get rid of this, get rid of that. Let's go to here. What is going on? Much better. All right. There it is. All right, bring this up for you guys here. So BYD, Ray here coming out tweeting. Let me blow it up a little bit better for you guys here. So Ray for Tesla coming up. BYD CEO Wang Chuanfu says his company has a huge headcount of 660,000 employees, keeping in mind Tesla has 120,000 and longs for full production automation at all BYD plants to reduce headcount by 600,000 for cost savings. This is an unsolvable problem. Unmanned autonomous driving is tens of thousands. Unmanned autonomous driving is tens of thousands times more difficult than factory automation. He then concludes self-driving is not viable. He literally calls it BS, and ADAS is here to stay. So my take on this, and I had tweeted it out, is looks like BYD will be using the money they save in payroll on licensing FSD from Tesla. So, as Brian and I were talking the other day when he was asking me about how I felt about BYD, and, I think BYD is going to be great. I think they're going to be successful. I think all of the Chinese automotive makers, as long as they get the support needed to get through these difficult times, will be fine. I think they're going to be the next Japanese wave that comes out, and they're going to dominate a good chunk of the world with their EVs. However, if BYD is not going to go the route of FSD and autonomous driving, that's going to be a problem because the rest of the world feels like, well, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but the majority of what we hear about feels like that is going to be where we're headed, is fully autonomous driving. If BYD doesn't think it's solvable, but we find out that Tesla does solve it, then guess what? They have no choice. There's going to be no other option for them other than to go out and either try to figure it out themselves, which good luck with that and being able to just cram it out and get it done in a year, or they're going to have to license it from Tesla. So if they're going to be cutting out 600,000 employees, that money that they're going to be saving, they're most likely going to end up having to use that money to lease FSD. So I don't know if that strategy is going to pay off for them. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if that strategy pays off. Don't think so. That's my take on that. And again, coming to China, China has, fully autonomous vehicles over there already working around different places. So I don't know where BYD is coming up with this. I don't know if it's because they've given up or if they're trying to just convince people that it's impossible to come out with. I don't know. We'll see, but I don't think it's going to work out well for them. But now when he does talk about themselves getting to, you know, nearly autonomous production, that's what Tesla's been working on as well. Not to say you're never going to need people on the factory floors, but think about having an Optimus robot. Eventually, we'll get to a point where a lot of those jobs can be done by Optimus versus just, automation. So, that's why when Tesla was putting up the factories in Berlin and Austin, we're talking about how the machine that makes the machine is the real product. The factory is the product, is the real product for Tesla. And that's it. And that's why another reason why they don't want to crank out too many factories too fast, because they know full well that every time they come out with a new factory, they're going to figure out how to do it better after they have that up and running. And the next one they build, they want to make it better than the last one. So if they just build 5 at once, they're going to have 5 factories that are going to be awesome, but then they're going to be like, oh crap, we could have done these things better. And had we just waited for the next one, we could have made that one even better. Conceivably $1,000 stock in 18 months. Not to say it can't happen. Based upon the data that I see, I think we see a massive pullback coming, and I don't think we're going to get a V bounce coming out of that massive pullback. And I think that's the bigger concern for me is we after the crash we saw in December, we basically V bounced out of it. I mean, you figure we slammed down to $100 and now we're up at 261 within 6 months. So that is not a slow, drawn out recovery like we saw from the housing market crash in 2008 and 2009. That took significantly more time to turn around. I think after this next one, that's the same thing we're going to see, especially because when the Fed pivots on the interest rates, it's going to be a slow, gradual drop in the rates over the course of 2 to 3 years versus, them just snapping it to zero like they did for COVID. So we saw that V balance then. This time around, I think it's going to be a matter of they'll slowly come down on the interest rates and kind of keep that balance going because, again, price stability is what the Fed's job is. And if they're violently changing rates up and down at a quick pace, it's not conducive for price stability. So they're going to get rates up to the level that they wanted at, which at this point is a terminal rate of 5.6%. That again means 2 more rate hikes by the end of this year. Then at that point, they pivot and they will slowly pivot on the way down, keeping price stability where it's at. And again, when they start coming down on interest rates, that in itself is going to be, the Fed wants to have interest rates around the 2% mark because that's where they want inflation to be, because that keeps the economy growing. But by coming down on interest rates, they're basically shrinking that. So it's going to have that kind of shrinking effect at the same time. So coming down on the rates isn't going to just cause the market to all of a sudden explode back up. It's going to take some time. Melissa, I don't know about you guys, but I'm taking profits here and there, not on my Tesla. I'm holding, but I'm taking profits in other stocks. I am too. So I actually contemplated, again, I love Palantir. I still have my 5 shares left. I contemplated just dumping out because I do think we're going to come down and fill that $10 gap on Palantir. Just like I think that'll be at the same time that we fill that $300 gap on NVIDIA. So part of me, and again, it's not big dollars, but I don't have a huge portfolio anyway. So even $100 in Palantir would, I could do some little damage with it. So I'm contemplating selling out of that and just thinning out a few other positions because I'm up. I bought quite a few things. Contemplated doing it with my ETFs, but they're bringing in my dividends, so I really don't want to dump any of those. But if I can take a little bit of the money like from a Palantir and put it into a dividend producing ETF, I can make my profits on Palantir and make that money on those ETFs, on those dividends. Then when Palantir comes down, I could take that money and put it right back into Palantir and let that run back up again. That's what I'm contemplating at the moment. I have not pulled the trigger on that yet, but I will keep you guys posted. Volkswagen and Hyundai NACS announcement. Did not hear about those yet. I know they're coming for sure, but I don't know if did they both come? Actually, did they come? Hold on. Maybe I did hear about them. I could be wrong. Let's see here. Hyundai NACS. Yeah, I haven't heard. It's so funny. I don't know about you guys, but for me, when it comes to stuff like this, when we're talking about Tesla or EVs and things like that, I have now found myself going more to Twitter and doing a Google search on Twitter and doing like a Twitter search because there's so many people in the Tesla community who are talking about it, and I can get more quality information from them than I can from Google. Not only that, but from Google, like the first 3/4 of a page is a bunch of crap I don't want to hear about, sponsored ads and crap. So yeah. So I don't see anything about Hyundai or Volkswagen. Let me see. Nothing here. Hyundai, but VW. Did VW do it? Uh, okay, so Ray had posted on the 30th that VW was in talks. In talk. That's right. That's the last one I remember was they were in talks about it. But we heard about Electrify America. And yep, and as far as I said, VW is imminent. So yeah, nothing official yet from what I see here, but it definitely sounds like it's coming. Oh, thanks, Melissa. Who wouldn't love Tim? Awesome personality, right, everyone? Yeah, I appreciate that. I like to think I do. I try to be humble though. I try not to be too serious in life. My whole plan in life is to find someone who I can stay young with forever. Just be a playful kid. That's what life is all about. Oh, wow, I look 28. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's great. My brother is 3 years younger than I am, but people think we're twins or they think that he's the older brother. So, yeah, I got that going for me. And hey, folks, I have my health and fitness channel. I've been doing this since I was 10 years old. So, 33 years of being in health and fitness and gaining knowledge and wisdom there. Clearly, it pays off. I stay young. I feel young. I noticed yesterday my brother and I, he's got 3 kids. And I had the oldest one, which he's all 3. But like we had him on our shoulders and we're running around the yard with him on our shoulders, and he had his 2-year-old, and it's like we're running around and yeah, we had a great time. But my brother was like super winded afterwards. And I was like, oh, that definitely shows because he's got 3 kids. I can't fault the guy. He's got 3 kids, so he's constantly busy running around. But I'm going to try to encourage him. Hey, maybe eat a little bit better. He loves beer. He makes his own beer. He loves life. He's enjoying it. But I wanted my brother to be around as long as he possibly can as well. So, I may encourage some more healthy habits for him so that we can play. But it was definitely noticeable in taking care of your health and how it affects you. Or we didn't cry. We decided that it was time for you to fly the nest. Yes, it is time for me to fly the nest for sure. Actually, I came up with, and I just because I don't know who's watching, I won't fully share on here. Uh, I will share it with my members and patrons strictly not because I don't want to be open and candid with you guys, but um, if there's anybody from my job watching, I don't want to be in trouble. But I came up with my exit strategy plan for them, and I want to do what's right by them as well. I don't plan on just being a dick and dumping. But I've come up with my tentative timeline as to when I want to step away from there. Let's see. Yeah, Cocaine Bear versus Durable is next year's summer blockbuster hit. Absolutely. We were joking around about that at work. Like that's got to be it. That's going to be the sequel. Yes, I was married. I was married for 5 years. That's where my son came from, who is now 16. And a very good relationship with my ex and even her whole family. She's remarried, has 2 more kids. So yeah, I was married. That was in a past. Now at this point, it was almost in a past life. So oh man, Raymond, the French must have a national day too. So much fireworks in Paris. Yikes. PowerPoint Paladin. Yes, hit the like button, folks, please. Thank you. Yes, I saw this. Did you see Meta is taking on Twitter with Threads? Hopefully Elon doesn't have to sell more stock to save Twitter again. No, just the jokes that are going on out there is, think about it this way. When you're in a classroom and you know somebody's going to do well on a test, you cheat. You take their, or you don't cheat. Okay, you don't cheat, but you want to study from them. You want to take their notes. You want to learn from them, and this way you'll do better on your test. Well, obviously, if Meta is trying to mimic Twitter, clearly that means that Twitter is doing something very right. And that's what they're trying to do. Now, with my social media platforms, I am on both Facebook and Twitter. So I'll be able to utilize them, or Facebook and Instagram. So I'll be able to utilize them myself and be able to compare them because I'm on Twitter regularly. So I'll see how they compare. And if it's going to be something that's beneficial for me to grow my business as well, that could be good. I'm not going to bash them one way or another, but we'll see how it ends up playing out. Isaac, happy fourth. If recession, can we ever see Tesla closer to 100 or below? Yeah, and it's going to depend on how bad the recession gets. That's just my take on it. Is the level of how bad the macro economy gets will be the level of where Tesla drops to. And again, what's going to happen along the way is if people are in margin, we're going to see a full repeat of last year. Too many people in margin, we see the entire macro environment come down. Then we're going to have a lot of FUD pieces come out. And you have to remember, when the stock price is coming down, a lot of people who say they aren't emotional traders are emotional traders. And so then they come out and their emotions come out and they get so frustrated. These are the same people who are buying on FOMO right now are going to be the exact same ones who are screaming and crying when the stock price is coming down because they're emotionally invested and they shouldn't be. So then they start to paper hand. Maybe they're in margin. They get margin called. They freak out. All these FUD pieces come out. They, instead of taking responsibility and ownership on their own investing decisions, they will do everything they can to point fingers at something else. This is why FUD hit pieces do so well during those times, because everybody who is emotional like that is trying to find some reason as to, why am I losing money? Why is this going on? Oh, it must be because of this FUD piece that I just read the other day. That is exactly what happens. So again, if we get into that time when we're pulling down, there's going to be a lot of that going on. So just brace yourselves, because what we see right now on the way up, if we saw some, negativity, we all just kind of laughed at it and we're like, haha, Tesla Q, that doesn't mean anything. And we sloughed it off. The stock price didn't move at all from it, and we kept going up. Phenomenal. It's not going to happen like that all the time. We've already seen it before. It's going to happen again. Paul, one of these days we're going to have the technology where I can pump some of that AEC right through my internet, and we're going to get it into my place right now. Oh, what's your next race and challenge? So I've been working on the 48 4,000 footers in New Hampshire. I canceled my trip this past weekend just because all these storms coming through. I was not going to spend $500 for a weekend to sit in a hotel room up there. Figured I could spend it with family and friends, which worked out way better anyway. So I'm working on that currently, and my next official race is going to be in August. I am running a Spartan Sprint in the Boston area. So that will be my next actual race. No, let me see. No more 150 with Tesla. Buffett sold more BYD. Did he sell more? Wouldn't surprise me if he sold more. Because Buffett's one of those ones who, and don't forget, he has a large position. So selling, when we were all talking about him selling BYD previously, it's not like he dumped a massive piece of his holdings. He just dumped a small bit of it. But he's also one who's, basically a fund manager. So if he sees profits to be had, and he sees, again, he follows the fear greed index. We're currently in extreme greed. Well, he's going to take his profits because people are being greedy. Well, when other people are being greedy, he's going to take that greed money for himself and hold on to it until people are afraid, and then he'll buy back in. I guess Tesla should be good until at least 719. It could. Again, I think it's going to track with the macro environment unless Tesla gives us an announcement. But typically, there's a blackout period between the end of the quarter and earnings where they really don't make many announcements. They can't talk about much at all either. They can't make any trades themselves. So there's a good chance we won't hear really anything Tesla specific between now and earnings. So any movements we have are going to be strictly macro related. me see. Just going through your comments here, see what else we got. Why haven't big institutions bought more Tesla? So they have. There have been two big chunks of purchasing going on with institutions. Now, I have to remember, we just got investment grade rating from Moody's back, or from S&P back in October. So again, this is not a S&P type inclusion where all these institutions have to come in and purchase things. It's just now, hey, they have the ability to buy it, and they'll buy it when they feel the time is right. We saw a lot of buying coming in at the end of December, beginning of January. There was also a lot of buying coming in May. Now, in May, that was also after Moody's had changed it to investment grade. So if there are any institutions out there who needed to have both, or Moody's to be investment grade to purchase, they're now at that point. So we saw a lot of that coming in May. But just market wide, there are trillions of dollars in institutional money that are still sitting in bonds that haven't been used yet. So again, this is another reason why I'm looking and saying the market is still holding on and waiting for something to come down. There's still a lot of signs that are pointing to a big market collapse, housing market collapse, economic massive pullback coming. And a lot of these institutions are waiting. So the reason they haven't bought a lot more yet is because they're waiting for that opportunity. Again, just like Warren Buffett, if we're at a point where we're at extreme greed, it doesn't make sense for these institutions coming to buy. We've got analysts who, have a lot of hold ratings going on. They've got price targets between $250 and $300. The upside from here is not that significant for these investment firms, especially when they see analyst ratings that are saying, hey, the upside in the next 12 months isn't much. Why would we invest at that point when they're really looking at it for a 12-month period and they're anticipating a better buying opportunity coming up? This is part of why my strategy is the way it is. I say, hey, these people are successful in doing what they do. This is what they're doing. I'm going to mimic what they're doing, but do it in my own way, which is why I dollar cost average daily. They really dollar cost average really on a quarterly basis. They say, hey, it's this part of the quarter. I think that this is going to be a good buying opportunity. We'll dump some money in. So that's how they do it. I just do it daily, and I just hold my cash and wait for some other opportunities. We did a 3-to-1 split, and just after that, the market the market did another one. Yeah, it's really been painful. That's true. We did that 3-to-1 split, and then the market split us in three also. Difference is with the second 3-to-1 split, it's just had to rebound back up, and we could buy back in at that lower price. Oh, nice. Yeah. Thanks much to Tesla. Bought 2 rental properties during pandemic for free. Yeah, exactly. We'll take some more profit next run up. Yeah, and again, that's what a lot of people did. And I don't know what you're using your rental properties for, if it's long-term rent or Airbnbs. Long-term rent is good. Actually, I've heard some good people talking about getting a multifamily home, saying that, like, let's say they have a 3-family house, they're going to rent out 2 of them long-term and one of them as a short-term or Airbnb rental. So I've heard some people having very good success with that. So this way, if the short term doesn't do very well, they'll be able to still make up for it with the other 2 long term rentals that they have. And then the benefit of having all of that is the short term one. When you do have one of your long term renters move out, the short term one is probably in better condition anyway, because it's upkept more regularly, because you have short term people in there. You're constantly going in to update it, so you can then take that short-term rental, turn it into a long-term rental. It's already ready to go. You don't have to worry about renovating it. And then you could take that long-term rental that was just moved out of, renovate that one, turn that into your short-term, and just rotate them. So that's a great strategy for anybody out there looking for that. So I don't know what you did with yours, Isaac, but that's awesome. And again, you took advantage of that. You took advantage of the zero rates. You took advantage of your awesome investments in Tesla. And now you created yourself cash flow generation from your Tesla stock. Awesome. Absolutely love to hear it, Isaac. BYD stands for Build Your Dreams. Does it really? Is that really what it stands for? I mean, that's cool. I like that. I'm a huge fan of acronyms. Let me see. Tesla last few months have almost negative free cash flow, even when they have $20 billion cash, must be sending tons of capital investment. Their capital investment, don't forget, they've got Lathrop going up. They've got the Shanghai energy factory going up. They're working on breaking ground in Mexico. But it's not negative free cash flow, because a lot of that money that they're spending is already allocated. So again, they're doing $7 to $9 billion in uh, I totally lost my mind. $79 billion in capital expenditures and capex spending. So because of that, it's already worked in. You know, again, we'll see what happens when we get there. But as Elon said, they're spending money as fast as they wisely can. And you know, if for some reason they can find other places to wisely spend their money, oh, they also have lithium going up too. So if they can find other places to wisely spend their money, they'll do it. And they're going to do that over doing a buyback for sure. That's not a question. But based upon what they have seen so far, they don't have anywhere else to invest their money wisely that's going to make a major relevance versus doing a buyback. ADAS, assisted driving. That's the assisted driving control, is what ADAS is. Yeah, assisted automated driving. Yeah, uh, is exactly what it is. So it's like it's more like, you know, keeping your lane, little things like that. So it's what a lot of cars and vehicles have right now is just the assist driver versus actual self driving. What's going on, Abby? Happy birthday, USA. My estimate on delivery was 456. Hey, you are higher than me, so you're closer. Good job. Margin estimate is 23%. My margin percentage right now is 20%, 23% with credits, but X credits is 20%. PPS 375, end of month price target. I mean, we'll see how we go because again, I think FOMC this month could be when you start looking at earnings. Sometimes you have to go earnings to earnings, and sometimes we'll see earnings come through, and almost everyone, regardless of what they come up with, do quite well after earnings. And then sometimes, like the following quarter, regardless of what people come up with for numbers, everything pulls back. So last quarter, we saw a lot of companies run after earnings. We could possibly see the end of the opposite of that this time. Because again, after we have the FOMC meeting, that is right in the heart, and we saw it last year. It's right in the heart of earnings season. So it's Q2 earnings season that's coming up. That's why this month could be very unsteady because you've got CPI, PPI. The following week, you've got Tesla earnings and earnings season starting. Then you've got the following week after that FOMC meeting. You've got all big tech earnings, bank earnings. I think bank earnings actually might be starting next week. I'd have to double check on that. Bank earnings usually start first, but a lot is going to be going on over the next month. So while I would love to see 375, if we're already at an RSI well over 70, and we have an extreme greed needle right now at 84, there's a strong chance that we are going to see something pulling us down this month. Let's see. Profits? Do you guys have profits? I do. I am green in Tesla. My cost basis is 221, so I've been looking good for about a month or so now. How many have ordered a Cybertruck? Yeah, how many of you guys have a Cybertruck on order? Good catalyst soon in the next few months. So my thoughts on the Cybertruck, and I do have mine on order as well. And my thoughts on the Cybertruck are going to be, it's going to get released. We're going to hear about it. Lots of excitement. Have no doubt there's going to be awesome excitement. They're going to make a big deal of it. I think it's going to be great. We're going to see quite the push up from there. We're going to get the pricing on it. And I think the pricing is going to be in line with what a lot of people expect. And it's going to be a surprise price. I think we're going to see probably the dual motor around the $69,000 mark. We're going to see that there. So that's going to qualify for the EV tax credit here in the US. So having that being able to qualify for the EV tax credit is going to be huge. A lot of excitement around that. But then what's going to end up happening as we go into the tougher economic times towards the end of the year, that ramp on the Cybertruck is going to be slow. Elon already told us it is, so don't be surprised when it is, because Elon said it's going to take some time. I think it's actually going to be slower than Berlin and Austin were to ramp. So because of that, people are going to be like, well, where are the Cybertrucks? We'll get to Q3 earnings call. Not many. We're going to get to the Q4 earnings call. Not many. People are going to be like, what's going on? Why is the Cybertruck not here? That could cause some concern. That could cause the market, and that could be one of those FUD pieces that comes out for Tesla at that time. Now, in all reality, Once it gets ramped, it's going to be perfectly fine. I think by Q2 of next year, we'll be in a blaze of glory and we'll be doing awesome. But along the way, a lot of people are not going to anticipate a slow ramp. And because of that, we're going to see some ugly things. So I think the initial announcement is going to be awesome. We're going to see a great boost in the stock. And then it could fade after that just because it's not ramping up quickly like people are hoping it will. Let me see. You made a lot on STEM, Plug, Nova, ENPH. Yeah, ENPH. I've made good money on ENPH like 3 times. Um, Plug, I made money on the first time it bumped up. I caught a bit of that upward run. So let's see. Yeah, Twitter's getting popular with investors. I've seen a lot more stuff going on Twitter. I mean, heck, look at Mary Barra using it. It's going to be good, and I think it'll be so nice because obviously that's going to take that piece of, hey, does Elon have to sell any more shares next year to float it? I think it'll be fine. I think he's doing a great job with Twitter already. I think it'll be out of the dumpster soon enough, and we're not going to have to worry about it. So, and again, I use it almost as much as a Google search now for a lot of stuff. It feels like a rate cut equals bullish for market. Yeah, but unfortunately, we're going to get the opposite, which is feels like the rates are going to go up still, and that's bearish for the market, unfortunately. What do you think of NMN supplements? I actually don't know about NMN supplements. I will have to look into that. I'm not a huge one for a lot of supplements. I like to stay mostly natural. When I was in my 20s, I tried a lot of different stuff. It was all legal stuff. It was all over the counter or natural stuff. I wasn't doing anything like roids or anything like that. But I tried a lot of different things. And then I just realized over time that A, it's expensive, and B, my body produces a lot of that naturally. And when you start taking in the supplements for it, if you don't need it, what ends up happening is your body stops producing it. So when you stop using those supplements, your body's now missing something and it has to build it back up. That's how I got a few of my injuries. So I stay away from a lot of supplements. For me personally, I use the Beach Body stuff. I use Energize for my pre-workout. I use Recover for my post-workout protein shake. I just got ashwagandha. It's awesome. Chuck Norris is promoting it, but it's also we have Shakeology through Beachbody. It's tons of superfoods, very much like the A1 greens and stuff. But it was out long before them. So very, very good stuff. I just don't use the Shakeology, but the ashwagandha is good. So I started getting that. But otherwise, not much in the supplements category, mostly just straight up nutrition. Let me see. Is the market open tomorrow? Yes. Yeah, we're back on schedule, Dominic. Tomorrow, market open as usual. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, closing out the week as normal. Let me see. Got in here late, so jump yesterday. Any idea from here on out earnings 2.5 weeks? Oh, actually, you know what? I didn't bring up the charts. Let's pop the charts up here. Let's see. Thanks for the reminder, Miguel. There's Tesla. Where are we at? Go to the daily. Beautiful. Oops, not that button. How about this button? All right. So yeah, so we've got that gap that we created yesterday, 264, and I thought it was 279 that we opened at. It was actually 276, 275 that we opened at. So gap goes 264 to 275. And again, just another gap. You guys know me and my gaps, and fill in these gaps. I'm pretty sure that's going to fill. So we might, and I don't know if it'll happen tomorrow. Maybe we come down, bounce off of that, and then come up off of that tomorrow. Could be some people early morning profit taking, and then we come up and bounce off of it. Not sure, but again, just another gap to put on the radar. So we go down to 265, down to 235, down to 222. Down here, we got down to 163. So plenty of gaps below us to look at. So, and looking at, where is it? Oh, there we go. Like looking at volume, that's the other thing too, is yesterday being a short day wasn't going to be a high volume day at all. But, so 119 million shares trading hands, considering it was a short day, still pretty decent volume. Considering that on Friday we saw 112 million shares and it was a full day of trading, and we saw more than that with a half a day of trading. Um, it's significant enough. But looking at like some of these bigger volume days, like the biggest volume days we've seen, in the last month were red days. Big red one here, red one here, red one here. So, what does that tell you? Could be just an indication of some people kind of taking some profits, understanding that we're a little bit high right now in some people's eyes, and they're just selling. So, and again, RSI is at 71 on the weekly. We're at 69. We're right at that near overbought stage. Fear greed index 84. Going to keep reiterating it, and so that's just my thoughts on that. And I think going into earnings is going to be mostly macro driven. Oh, let me cancel that. Let's see here. Still think we're headed for a recession. I do. And again, I don't know how bad it's going to be. And it may be like an earnings recession. And maybe we don't actually hit a full recession. I don't know. Maybe it's just, a very strong slowdown in the economy. But I think whatever we see is going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months, and it's going to be ugly for a while. Let me see. Damn, if Tesla gets $100, I'm going to dump like 30K. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sitting on that much cash, but I've got 11% cash right now. And I'm starting to dump more and more of my cash into dividend ETFs so that I can get myself even more cash. And again, if we do see the market pullback, all of those ETFs, those prices will come down as well. So I don't want to be upside down on them, because then that negates any of the gains that I'm getting from the dividends. So I'm trying to play that one wisely as well. But yeah, it's nice to have these options. And again, sitting here in my position, little guy, I'm still consider myself a little guy, but sitting on as much cash as I have in different CDs that I've got, giving myself, I feel comfortable knowing that if we get this big pullback and this opportunity, I will be able to massively take advantage of this. This is the reason why a lot of these institutions are doing the same thing. They want to be able to take advantage of that, and they're just waiting for that timing. I've been talking about a recession for months. Is it coming or for just real? I mean, I've been talking about it. I know Elon's been talking about it. A lot of institutions are talking about. A lot of people have been talking about a recession coming. Many people thought it was going to happen last year, and we kind of saw it last year. And then we saw kind of a reversal, and the stocks took off. So, I think it's still possible, but again, it just keeps on going. Yep, from the Tesla community, Jeff Lutz is the closest to delivery number, still below actual. Yeah, Jeff was on fire. He was awesome. And I think I might have been actually the closest for production. I was off by 1,230 vehicles on production, so I was happy about that. I'll see if I don't know if Jeff does YouTube. I'll just see. Maybe I'll get Jeff on here, and we could share notes, and he can talk about deliveries, and I'll talk about production. Melissa, mild recession, or keep talking about it forever. One will happen someday. Eventually, yes. If you keep on talking about it, it will happen. Especially, everything is cyclical. When I had Adam on here, we talked about it. You talk about cycles. It's typically every 10 years we get that massive pullback. And when you do get it, like the housing recession, we saw a big pullback, saw a V-shaped recovery, then we saw an even deeper pullback, and then it took a lot longer to come out. That's the same type of feeling I have about this time around. Was we saw that big pullback, saw that V-bounce recovery. I think we're going to get a bigger pullback and then a slow recovery. Isaac, even $120 a good deal long term. I think, honestly, even at 261, I think long term it's going to be a good deal. However, I think we're going to get significantly better opportunities. So in the near term, if you buy at 261, you might go upside down for a little while, just like the people who bought at higher prices. Some people still aren't green yet from when they bought it when it was on its way up previously. Raymond, Tesla recently reinstated on the ESG list, still lower ranked than Exxon and Philip Morris. Stupid ESG. Yeah, ESG is stupid. I know Alexandra's very passionate about that. I'll have to chat with her and see about having her come on here to share her thoughts on ESG, because I know she abhors it. And yeah, getting reinstated is just a joke. The whole ESG thing is a joke. And the thing that stinks is with ESG, there's ESG funds. So when Tesla got taken out of it, now all the institutions that were in those funds had to dump Tesla strictly because they got taken out of it. For what reason? Stupid reasons. Yeah. So it's nice that they're back on there, but again, I think that whole thing needs to be abolished altogether. Just heard a speculation about a Giga Portugal, cheapest workforce in Western Europe. Thoughts? I'd heard about Giga Spain. Did not hear about Portugal. I don't know. That is possible. I don't know if Portugal is it going to be big enough to really sustain a Tesla factory? I don't know. It's possible. I don't know the area well enough. But I know there's been a lot of talks about Europe, and I have no doubt Europe will see a second EV factory. I think they're going to see an energy factory as well. So don't know which one's going to go where, but I have a feeling that they're going to see both of them in the next 5 years. My strategy is always to have the money to buy dips in any stocks. Great plan. Then I sell my higher shares if I need money to free up, since you can't time it perfect. Great strategy. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. You have money to buy when it dips low, and that was my biggest failure when I first started investing. Was I was always all in, and because I was always all in, and I didn't know how the stock market fluctuated enough, I was always at a point where I'm bought in and then everything pulls down. And I'm like, dang it, I was constantly in the red. And I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the red. And I definitely wasn't patient long enough. I was trying to swing trade with a long-term investor's mentality, and it wasn't working out well at all. So I just held off on doing any buying for 3 months, saved up cash to get myself to the 10% cash I'm at now. And now I keep that balance. Now, if I see awesome buying opportunities, I'll buy myself down to 5% cash, but I never go below that. Unless there's some massive reason why I was like, oh, this needs to come in. Like, hey, Tesla for some reason inadvertently drops to $50. Yeah, I'll dump everything into it. Otherwise, I'll keep that 5% because there's always a chance that it comes down lower. And I found a balance with my income and everything else to make sure that I constantly have that flow. So it works out well for me, and everyone's different. But that's a great strategy, Melissa. Oh, you're in the Bay Area. Nice, dude. In the Bay Area, the fourplex. Ooh, you 7 total rental properties. Isaac, you doing a good job. You're doing an awesome job over there. Well done. Let's see what else we got here. Gene, do you think Tesla can drop to 150? I do. We got that 146 gap. I'm almost positive we are going to fill. I'm going to give it a 90 to 95% chance that we fill that 146 gap. Let me see. I just saw a picture of an article on something called the Cyber Coupe. Ooh, this is an interpretation of what the success of the Cybertruck could evolve into. I know the Cyber Van is going to be in the works. Obviously, nothing confirmed, but I know it'll be coming out. So we'll see the Cyber Van, a highly customizable Cyber Van. Wouldn't doubt us seeing a coupe of some sort. That could be the compact car. I don't know if they're going to go with a compact car in the style of the Cybertruck. But hey, maybe, you never know. What's going on, Wes? Let's see. I think Elon should cage fight Mary Barra instead of Zuck, keeping my Tesla investment safe. You know what? Maybe she could be the ref. Maybe she can referee Elon and Zuckerberg. Did you see Elon was training with George St. Pierre? And honestly, people are getting upset by him wanting to cage match. But if he's going to be training, I mean, he's going to be getting in even better shape. Elon getting into better shape is going to be even better for his long-term health, which means that he's going to stick around even longer to do it. And coming from anyone who has done exercise and eating properly, you know how much better you feel, how much more productive you are. So if Elon is doing this and becoming more productive, it's an even more productive Elon. Think about it. Like, dude's pretty productive as it is. So for him to become an even better version of himself, that's awesome. Yep, my mother-in-law never took vitamins and supplements, lived till 94. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with vitamins or supplements, and some people, need certain ones because their body doesn't produce enough or whatever it is. There's reasons behind it, but like most of the time when you're taking a multivitamin, a lot of the stuff is going to get washed down or it's excess and you don't need most of it and it gets flushed through your body. So it's, in realistically unnecessary work on your kidneys. It's not going to be major, but is it really necessary? It's always good to check to see, do you really need that stuff? Because it's money that you're spending on vitamins and supplements that maybe don't need. Robert, what's going on? It's good to check in with you today. Absolutely. Not just informative, therapeutic as well. The road to financial freedom requires a healthy mindset and consistent positivity. Absolutely, Robert. Robert and I, he's one of my members, and we chat regularly. We're on kind of the same place when it comes to financial freedom and everything, and dollar cost averaging, and it's the same mentality for a lot of things. Investing, dollar cost averaging, getting rid of your debt is just daily work, constantly paying attention. What am I spending? What am I doing? What do I need to do to get myself out of debt? Same thing as taking care of your health. Dollar cost averaging into your health would be eating properly every single day and going to work out every single day, or doing some sort of exercise regularly. So a lot of the same mentalities are consistent through all of them, through health and wealth. And Robert is doing that himself. So great job, Robert. Glad to have you here. Yesterday was interesting. Don't feel like things sold off as much as I expected with all stocks. Yeah, I thought we were going to see more of a sell off, but I wasn't sure with it. With a half trading day, typically there's not a lot going on just because volume is usually lower. Um, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Gaps are from Michael Spinks. Oh man. Let me see. You think we see Tesla at 290 tomorrow since it's a full day of volume? It's possible we might see a push to the end of the week. I think, gosh, it's so hard to tell whether we're going to pull back and fill that gap at 265 and then go up, or just go up and fill that gap later. Truly don't know, but we may see a bit more of it pushing up. Highly possible for Tesla to hit 300 tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's possible. Tim, do you like TSLY better than TSLL? Gosh, they're both so good. Gort got me into TSLL, and I gotta say, TSLY has been awesome, bringing in the dividends for me. I'm not going to complain at all, and it's more in my wheelhouse because I'm not one to try and time like a TSLL. While TSLL does pay out dividends, it's not like TSLY, and TSLL just moves a lot more. But in order to make your profits on TSLL, you still need to sell, and you still need to know, when do I want to sell? Because right now I'm like, I only have 10 shares of it, but it's like I'm up almost 100%. It's ridiculous. So I'm like, I could sell, make 100% profit, but then I have to wait and buy back in. So that's another one of those ones where I'm contemplating, and that's in my IRA, but I'm contemplating selling it just to free up that money. And again, when I sold out my half of my shares of TSLA in my IRA, I put that money into TSLL and TSLY and actually made up more than I would have made in TSLA. So I do like them both, higher risk, but I like TSLY better strictly from my standpoint because it's just dividends that come in and I could just keep on adding. It's very much like my TSLA. I don't want to sell Tesla stock. I just like having it and I want to keep on adding to it. So with TSLY, I can do that. And by adding more to it, I'll make more money on it every single month from the dividends. TSLL, I will make the dividends, but not as much. And then in order to make the real profits, I would have to sell it. And I don't like selling Tesla anything. So it's harder for me. But that's just my personal opinion on those. But I think they're both awesome. Scott, seems like Cybertruck and Model 2 are going to 2 or 3x units sold. Yeah. Cybertruck's not going to be huge. Cybertruck will probably be 250,000, maybe 500,000 units per year. At least that's what the goal is right now. But the Model 2 or whatever they're going to call it, that's going to be a big one. That one's going to be pushing out massive units every single year. And that one's going to that one is going to be the game changer. Cybertruck is going to be a game changer in the truck world. But when it comes to actual volume and putting vehicles on the roads for the masses, that's going to be the Model 2. 2030 price target for TSLA. My previous one was, gosh, I want to say $2,900. I just released it to all of my members and patrons yesterday. So next weekend, I will have a new Tesla Air video sharing all of my updated price targets. I don't want to share those right now just because I want to be respectful to all of my members and patrons. But let me see what it's at now, because I know it didn't fluctuate terribly. So about $2,200 was what I previously had for my 2030 price target. Let's see. Yes, you guys. I'm reading. You guys want to have Alexandra back on? I will reach out to her and have her back on. It's been a long time since I've had many guests. I've been so busy with all my life going on. It's hard to have guests on here. Alex, you're late. It's okay. Better late than never. It's all good, man. Glad you're on. Exactly, Lang. Perfect. Yep. Treat rental properties like long-term share in Tesla. Purchase price is probably most important to profit, both stock and real estate. Yeah. And that was my thought too, is when it comes to interest rates, I can always refinance. Interest rates, if, based upon what the Fed is saying, they're going to be coming down. So interest rates may not be much higher than they are now. If the Fed goes up a couple more times, so be it. But when the housing market drops, the prices, you can buy in. So even if interest rates are, let's say, 6.5%, you buy in a house at 6.5%, but the housing market prices have come down 20%. Now you're lower. Now you just wait 2 years. Now all of a sudden interest rates come down to 4.5%. Cool. Refinance, get that in there. Now you have a lower rate. So now you're paying less every single month. And if it's a rental property, you still have that same income coming in, but a lower monthly payment on your mortgage. It's perfect. That's how you want to do it. Just like when it comes to stocks, buying at a lower price means that you're going to have more shares. More shares in the long term are going to grow a higher value. You are correct. Not all gaps must be filled, but 9 out of 10 times they do fill. So when I look at 10 gaps below us right now, that just go to $100. I think 114 is the lowest one at that level. So if I see 10 gaps going from the 265 down to 114, thinking even if half of them fill, that's a pretty significant drop. And that takes us down to 146 if half of them fill. So that's just my thought. What's going on, Hanif? Potential financial suggestion. PFS. My man's in the house. You guys are really talkative today. I love it. You guys are so good. I'd love to just sit in a room with all you guys, have a few drinks, chat about Tesla and everything else. Be great. I'd like to see a short squeeze to 750. Wouldn't we all? Oops. Oh, actually, I could answer this one too. Forgive me my ignorance, but if TSLY ETF pays 26.8% yearly, seems dislocated. So that's all based on, it's a covered calls. So it's a high yield covered call ETF. So they're just playing a lot of options. And again, don't forget the first half of this year was extremely successful for Tesla. So my bigger question is, how are they going to continue this if we end up getting a pullback? Will it still be the same? So that's where my unknown risk is when it comes to TSLY, which is, I think they'll be fine, but can they sustain a massive pullback, or will they go under because of the covered calls not doing well? I don't know. That I'm going to have to wait on. But, last time they paid out 59%. So that's ridiculously high. How many shares do I have now? I have 71 shares. In my main portfolio, I have 11 in my IRA. Will you hold extra cash for investing in Starlink IPO? I mean, I've got my 11% cash. If they say they're going to IPO, I will definitely allocate some funds to that. And I will work on other pieces of my portfolio to free up space to put Starlink in there. I will absolutely be a buyer of Starlink. Yeah, twice the audience. I love it. We had, and I want to thank you guys. My goodness, I mean, I know it was production and delivery, so it was a huge day. But we had over 600 concurrent viewers on our live stream on Sunday. I've never had that many. Like 250 was my highest before that. So 600, you guys are awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Let me see. I like to get to 300 TSLA shares by end of 2024. I am retired with fixed income. I mean, that'd be awesome. Keep on plugging away, man. My goal is to I want to get to 200 by the end of this year. I'll definitely hit 100. Um, so if I could hit 300 by the end of 2024 with you, that would be great. Yes, PFS, power, fitness, and sweat t-shirts for both channels. Oh man. Oh, Hanif. Oh, you hit me right in the heart, man. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Yes, I can work it in both ways. So depending on who I'm talking to on the street while I'm wearing it, I can tell them what it's about. What's a percentage chance of Tesla shares reaching 300 before earnings? Could be good. Obviously, we're super close now. The bigger question is do we continue to push higher from here since we've already been overbought for so long? And we're in extreme greed, do we continue pushing up higher before we get that sell off, or do we sell off before then? Again, that 313 level was that level that we just could not break last year. So my thoughts are, do we push back up to 313 and test it yet again? That I don't know. We will wait and see how this month plays out, but I think by the end of this month we're going to know a lot more about how the rest of the year is going to play out. Good news on Telstra Australia, Starlink recently. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I know Starlink. Man, Starlink's getting everywhere. It's fantastic. Let me see. Do you think Palantir is better or Tesla better investment for retirement? Tesla. Tesla strictly because of the fact that they have so many things that they're working on collectively between EVs, energy, Optimus, FSD, so much other stuff that they have going on. I think they have the potential for a much larger total addressable market. So they have a lot more room to grow. So that's why I think they will do better than Palantir. I think Palantir is going to be a good stock. I think they're going to be a good company, but I don't think they're going to have the same total addressable market as Tesla. And that's why they won't grow as much. And I'm more comfortable with Tesla and investing in them. As Tesla has so many pieces where Palantir, they do have currently is a lot of government contracts. They are getting contracts with a lot of other companies as well. So it's good that they're branching out. And that was one of the downside risks was, it's a lot of government contracts where the government just says, all right, your contracts are over with us. Now they have no revenue source coming in. So they are expanding that, which is nice, but it's still one of the risks with Palantir at the moment. What would be the revenue if every car in America charged with Tesla Supercharger network with 75 kilowatt battery, 35 cent? That's a lot of math. I do not know that math off of the top of my head, but that is a lot. And obviously, over time, as we're thinking about it, this is why when you start looking at Saudi Aramco, Elon talking about could be worth more than Apple and Saudi Aramco combined. Apple, iPhone, Tesla, EV. That's that relationship. Saudi Aramco, gas stations, Tesla, charging stations. That's that comparison there. You put the two together. That's why Elon thinks that Tesla could be worth more than the two combined, because he's basically doing the same as both of them. He's disrupting one of them. He's not disrupting Apple, but it's the same principle concept that they have with EVs. It's a smartphone on wheels. I do not know the full pricing on it, but I think the supercharging revenue could be a lot more significant than people think. Not like insurance, where insurance isn't going to make much of a dent in the revenue stream. It's going to be more for customer experience. I think the supercharging network is going to do both. I think it's going to enhance the customer experience, but it's also going to bring in a significant chunk of revenue. Maybe we stay in extreme greed all year. Maybe we do. I don't know, man. It's possible, but nice. 125 in your portfolio, 6 in your Roth. Nice. Yeah, I gotta get back into my Roth. I have the cash on the sidelines. I kicked myself because I sold at 152 to 195, so I made some good profits on it. And I was like, oh, I wanted to buy back in at 125. I thought we were going to pull down. I still think we do, but when it was at 150, I was like, oh, I'm going to wait for that 146 gap. I thought we were going to fill that 146 gap at that time. I was going to buy back in then. It never hit. So, hey, I missed out. Nobody gets it right every time. Oh, David, you've got a Starlink connection. Oh, sweet. How is that? Weekly's not. It's close to overbought, Dean. It actually was overbought before we got into Monday. So it's the weekly is at 69.85. So it's super close. Not overbought, but it's super close. Monthly's right in the middle. So monthly. Oh wait, monthly's. Oh, I was gonna say yeah. Monthly's right in the middle at 56. So I'm not concerned on monthly, but the weekly is close. And it was when I looked at it the other day, it was over 70, but. So that's why I think because of the weekly and the monthly, that's why I think we could still push up to that 313 level just because we have a little bit of a room to run here. But it's not much. So I think, again, if we hit that 313 level, we may just bounce and come back down again. But who knows? Maybe we run up to all-time highs and crack 400 before we come down. Wild things are happening, so it's interesting. Remember, Elon was charitable when he sold Tesla shares. Sent him a thank you tweet. Yeah. Thank you for selling, Elon, and giving us the opportunity to buy down at $100. Much appreciated. Will Starlink IPO normally give announcement 1 week to month prior to IPO? Yeah, so they will give an announcement. And my bigger question is, Elon said that he was going to take care of Tesla investors when it comes to a Starlink IPO. How is he going to take care of us? If he allows Tesla shareholders to get in at pre-IPO pricing, that would be awesome twofold. One, what is the caveat? Like, how long would you have needed to be a Tesla stock shareholder to take advantage of it? If it's just, hey, as long as you're a Tesla stock shareholder, in this time frame before it IPOs, you can. Then, if that's the case, think about the push we would end up seeing in Tesla stock price itself. We could see the stock price of Tesla go up just because people want to get into the Starlink IPO pre-IPO. So all of us who are already bought into Tesla stock prior to that, we'll see a very nice push in the stock price for Tesla, and we'll be able to get into the Starlink IPO. So if that's the way that they play it out, that would be awesome. Yeah, Alex, good point. Palantir, solid investment. If they remain profitable and get the S&P inclusion, Palantir is my second biggest position. It's not for me yet, but I will be adding more. Like I said, I think they're going to have that pullback down to $10. But yeah, if they get an S&P inclusion, that's huge. Obviously, we saw that happen with Tesla. Certainly could happen with Palantir also. I see. Yeah, Elon tweeted that one day money may be meaningless, guessing the advance of AI and everyone will live comfortably. Yeah, because if machines are doing all the work for everyone, then does it matter? Do we even need money? His comment on irony of capitalism resulting in communism. Yeah, and theoretically, capitalism is unsustainable because unless you have population growing at the same rate of inflation and everything else, eventually you hit a point where the demand isn't meeting the supply and you end up seeing that collapse in the other way, especially if the government keeps on taking more and more of our taxes. Eventually people have no money and it's just the government has the money, and then you're at communism, and there you are. So that's why that it plays out that way. Yeah. Starlink saved my life. Nice. I moved to a small village up in the mountains. Oh, dude, I'm so jealous. I want to go visit you now. Even if it's in the north of Italy, that's exactly where I'm planning on buying my castle. I was experiencing digital divide and how I can work. Dude, I cannot wait to visit you. I know we talk about it all the time, David, but I want to get out there and visit you because I'll visit you and then we'll go castle hunting together. Mm. Oscar, what's going on? Happy 4th. You think Tesla can act like NVIDIA to wreck the shorts? That is one of Elon's passions, is wrecking shorts. So I have no doubt that he will do everything he can to burn shorts. Oh my gosh, we've been on for an hour and a half. Oh my, I was thinking about it earlier today, folks. Gotta tell you, when I do end up doing this full time, and as I said before, I've got a timeline in place. And when I do end up doing this full time, I think I'm going to do probably a daily 420 live stream because why not? Market's over. We can have our chats, discuss how the market closed that day. That would be ideal, was to do that. I'll do a video in the morning for everyone, which will recap everything we discussed the night before. So for those of you who don't want to watch an hour and a half live stream to go over all these different things, I'll do a full recap in the morning with a 15-minute video, and then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon. I would love to be able to get to the point to do that. And I think that will be my schedule set up when I get there. Castles are elusive. Yes. I see. There's a castle. Is there really a castle? Oh, that's right. You told me about that. Yes. Yes. You got married there last September. Yeah. I mean, just that European landscape, there's lots of castles everywhere, and there's different versions and styles of castles. But there was one that I was looking at a while ago, needed serious renovation, so I couldn't buy it. It wasn't in the area I wanted either. But that is on my list, is to get a castle and rent it out for lots of different things. Scott, great channel, super chat group. Yeah, I got to tell you, you guys in the chat, you make my day. Like, I owe a lot of this to you guys. Like, I'm just spitting out and having this conversation with you guys because you guys are so such a big piece of this. So thank you all. I tout you guys regularly everywhere I go, that it's you guys that are the true community. I'm just the voice for you guys on my channel, but you guys are really the heart and soul of all of this. I want a Tesla bot nurse when I retire. Yeah, like I thought about it, like thinking about, a guy just wants to have a dog in a cabin in the mountains. He's good to go. If I could have a Tesla bot with me too, like as a friend, other than the dog, to actually have a conversation with, that'd be perfect. Castles are not comfortable to live, high maintenance. Could be, but if I have enough money to own a castle, I think I would have enough money to pay people to maintain it for me. Oh yeah, and you guys are all welcome. As soon as I get my castle, I'll pass it out to all of you guys. Oh, Melissa, it's the Aura Castle. I blend words together like a champion. It's the Aura Castle, and that's what it'll be. And you guys are all welcome to the Aura Castle. Disagree. Try live under communism. That's true. I don't want to. I don't at all. There's so much. It's so bad. Count Tim. Yeah. Communism's no good. Count Tim. My goodness. Yes, I'll be a count. Castle to Oracle. You guys are awesome. Oh man. Let's see. Is it ethical? Maybe a Rodney Dangerfield personality comedy bot. That's actually true. The amount of things that are going on with AI right now, like AI comedy could be coming out. I have no doubt. Thinking about what you can use for Chat GPT. For any of you guys who follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Brian had shared with me an app called Opus, where I could take my videos. And I was like, I've been trying to get like little clips to, promote my channel on the other two platforms to try and get more people over here as well. And what it does is I could take my whole entire video link, put it into this AI formula, and it's going to spit out like 5 different video clips, 1-minute clips that I can use as ads in all of my other social media. It's perfect. It's awesome. So AI is pretty darn good. And I got to say, I mean, out of the 5 of them, like one of them was perfect. Like it's the one I posted today for you guys who saw it, if you're on following me on Instagram or Facebook. But I put it over there, and it's like it's perfect. I took the whole minute and put it over there. The other one's like wasn't fluid, so I would have had to edit those a little bit. But even then, editing out that is a lot easier than me going into my full 15-minute video and having to edit out those pieces. You're falling over castles in the UK. Yeah, I actually looked in the UK and Ireland as well, for a castle to buy also, just because there's so many of them. The problem is that most of them are in need of heavy renovations, and that's not something I'm ready to do right now. And obviously when I go over to Italy, I'm going to need a translator. I've been trying to learn Italian, but I've fallen off of learning that. But I want to make sure that I understand what's going on, what needs to happen, if there's any regulations I need to know about. It's going to be important. Tim, I have some Eskimo ice igloo to sell you before global warming sets in. Yeah, I'm going to need that. So what is a short? A short is somebody who is just like we buy the stocks. We buy the stocks betting on the fact, and I don't like to use the word betting, but we're investing in them assuming that the price is going to be going up. People who short the stock are investing in it assuming the stock is going to come down, and they make money when the company loses money and the value of the stock comes down. That's what a short is. And there's some people who manipulate it. Like a lot of these hedge funds will intentionally drive it down. They put out these FUD pieces as well to try and bury stocks because they want to make a lot of money as the stock comes down. This is why Elon hated them, because in 2018, shorts came out and almost buried the company altogether because they kept on shorting it and pushing the stock as far down as they could. So thank God the Model 3 came out and was successful, because that burned all of the shorts and it took off from there. And we haven't gone back since. So yes, no hate. All love, all love. All love here always. We love it. It's okay to disagree with each other. That's actually a good thing in life, is to disagree. If we all agreed, it would be a boring ass place. But have good explanations. And honestly speaking, Tim, you're just amazing. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Alex, let me know when you own the castle. Yeah, 2030, actually. That is my goal date as of right now. 2030, I would love to have it by then. Beer included in castle visits. I could do beer. I was actually going to have a vineyard on site, since it's going to be in Italy. So I was going to have a vineyard on site with my own wine that I produce there. But I have no problems having beer as well, because Germany's not far and I can have German beer as well. I don't know. David, is there Italian? I would imagine there's Italian beer. I did my thesis on the history of beer, but to me, Italy was not a place that was known for its beer, obviously more for its wine. Spence, when do you think Tesla cars will start talking to the driver? Oh man, I've thought about that. Sort of like Optimus and Jarvis from Iron Man, Jarvis or Friday. And I don't know. I mean, we're obviously at the point where we've got Siri and Alexa, but they really only talk to you based upon what you say versus an actual conversation. But AI is getting to the point where it could probably hold a full-on conversation with you. And I think we're getting there. So whether it's the car itself that talks to you, or whether it's going to be your Optimus bot, I think it's coming. Maybe within the next 5 years we get there. And Dojo, you're right. Dojo is going to be a huge piece in getting us to that point. Yeah, maybe live in Venezuela. No, thank you. Do not want to live in Venezuela at all. But don't forget, Venezuela got that way because inflation got so high there. So that they had runaway inflation. We're obviously pulling ours down here, but that runaway inflation, and obviously a lot of corruption and other things going on, put it to that point. But yeah, do not want that at all. Definitely not. So as long as we keep that balance going on here, we should be fine. Have a wine cellar for me in Aura Castle. Absolutely. Definitely a wine cellar. Like I said, vineyard and everything will be there. You can say Merlot. No matter how drunk I get, I can always say pizza and Merlot. Yes, I love it. Yes, you will definitely be my go-to guy over there. 100 years of war led to lots of castles around northern France. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just buy a bunch of castles, and buy a castle in every country in Europe. Italy's the first. Yeah, capitalism, the best of the worst systems. Yeah. And it's, It's ironic. Somebody was pointing out that the average lifespan of an empire is 250 years. That's right where the US is right now, is about 250 years. So if that's the case, then theoretically we are starting to exceed that lifespan. Now, every single time, there's usually been a different type of economic system, and obviously, right now we are using capitalism. So there's, I'm sure, a better way to do it. Maybe a merging of different type of economic structures that are out there. Without diving too far into any of that, it's, there's probably options. There's ways of doing it better. There's always better ways of doing things. So perhaps that's what we see next, is just a better version of capitalism. So it's not the best of the worst. It's actually good versus the best of the worst. Um, and obviously everything is good in theory, but there's always negative pieces or people who abuse it, which we see regularly with capitalism, people who abuse that for their own benefit. And then a lot of people suffer anyway. So it's really more of the social side of things. If people just didn't use and abuse it, then I think it'd be a good system. But everybody has their own way of doing it, and yeah. Chat GPT joke. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. That I can use on my Oracle Dad Jokes channel. Thank you, Moose. That is awesome. And what I'll do too is, like, I still have about 20 of them lined up to go in there. But when I need more of them, maybe I'll go to Chat GPT and I'll get some jokes from there. William, we share a few opinions, but with our sincerity, we share a relationship with truth. Truly, that's it. That to me, truth and being realistic, I think, is the most important thing. Which is why the hardest piece for me is, like, I'm a guy who likes to make people happy, but I know that sometimes telling people the truth, there's telling people what they need to hear, which is where I got the Oracle moniker from. Is I'm not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. I'm not always going to be right either, but what I say is going to be something that will be thought about. And even if it doesn't hit you now, hopefully when the time is right, what I have said will hit you and you'll be like, okay, now I understand and I see where this is going and why that was so valid and relevant at the time. And I try to do my best. Obviously, I'm not perfect, but I thank you, William. I appreciate that. That is one thing I try to do, is just be as forthright and honest as possible, and share with people things that I think will benefit them, things that they need to hear. Oh, Moretti's a good Italian beer. Okay, I'll have to try that. I wonder if I actually had that. Here we go. Here's the Moretti, Nastro, Echinuzza, Messina. Yeah, I think Moretti is one that I had tried when I did my senior thesis on the history of beer. The other three I have not. Oh, I see. Sorry, just going through the comments. I may dump off of here soon, but an hour 42, I don't mind. I'll spend some time with you guys. I do have to go cook dinner soon, though. What's a better system in your view? That's the whole thing. I would really have to sit back and think about a better system. And I don't want to say definitely not socialism, but I think there are some aspects of some other proven to be failed economic systems that there's some aspects of them that could work, and if you put them in with capitalism, they could be beneficial. Um, and I'm not one for big government. I would rather let the people just be educated and be able to do their thing and have less control by someone else. I'm not a huge fan of that. So for me, I think I don't think capitalism's terrible. Um, Obviously, as you said, it's the best of the worst. But you know, I think there's maybe just some things that need to get tweaked. But the hardest part is, how do you stop the people who have the money from controlling things to make sure that they are the only ones that have the money, without going to a socialism or communism type scenario? So that's I think is the challenge. If we can somehow make that happen, I think that would be ideal. And again, I don't want to tax the uber rich because that's people see that. And while, yeah, sure, it's not necessary to have billions of dollars, but that's what drives everything forward. That's what's moving us forward. That's what some people look at and say, hey, I can do that too. I want to strive to get that. That's what kind of keeps the gears churning and making us become a better society. But when you have people who aren't like Elon, who have that kind of money, who are just like, all right, now I'm going to be like a dragon and hoard all of this and not share any with anyone. And I'm actually going to find ways to take even more from you guys at the bottom so that you have even less. We can find a way to get rid of that without stopping them and their ability to continue to grow their massive dragon hordes. I think that would be good. Scott, I'm glad I found this channel. Oh, I'm glad you found it too. Thank you. I'm glad all of you guys found this channel. We do have a fun group, Melissa. You guys are fantastic. I absolutely love hanging out with you guys. And I still haven't been able to go to a Tesla event. So if I can, I would like to get to the Cybertruck delivery event. Again, not knowing the time and having to get time off of work and my son's soccer schedule and timing of the event. Don't know if I can make it, but whenever I can get to a Tesla event, I will absolutely let you guys know. And if you guys are there, I will buy the first round. Yeah, this is in my opinion, for a better system, we need more decentralization and trustless systems, AI in place of humans in most places, and then we can get rid of corruption and greed. Yeah, and one of the things that I saw when Elon bought Twitter is I think that was part of his intention in buying Twitter was to get more of that out there. Obviously, it's not going to change everything. It's just at least from the social aspect, we can get more truth out there. But exactly that's it. I think capitalism is good in that regard, and we just need to continue getting there. Yeah, our friend Elon's going to probably have the most money, first half trillionaire. I think you're right. I think he is going to be the first one to get there. But again, for him, and that's the whole thing that a lot of people don't understand is it's net worth versus income. So yes, he has all of that money supposedly in net worth, but again, we saw him lose billions of dollars last year when the stock price came tumbling down. So, it's his if he chooses to sell that stock and he has that money. But if he does do all of that, we saw what happened last year, and it's not good for him or anyone. So, but again, that's why there's those loopholes, and a lot of that comes down to government. I have a 3-year plan to buy a new Tesla or use from Tesla. Nice, Scott. I appreciate that. That's awesome. So for me, um, I've been talking about a Model Y, gosh, for the last 2 years, and like, something is always just telling me now is not the right time. It's just not the right time. And I've been really good about listening to my inner monologue telling me what I should or should not do and making a big decision like that. And now where we're at here, looking at the prices coming down, looking at the potential of a housing market recession. So for me, I could buy a house that can make me money, that can buy me a Tesla. At the time, we could be having prices of the Teslas coming down significantly, especially if we have the compact car coming out. We may see Model Y prices coming under $40,000. If that's the case, I can now get a Model Y for significantly less. I can get the EV tax credit tacked onto it at the time of purchase, which will make it even less in my monthly statements versus having to wait for my tax credit the next year. So I'll be able to pay even less for my Model Y at that point, and it's definitely going to have hardware 4 in it. And and at that point, maybe I can then afford to have the FSD in it as well. So a lot of things are pointing to patience paying off for me. Only thing that sucks about Austin, there's really good hazy IPA and West Coast IPA. I love IPAs. My brother makes a good one. Man, and I've been really liking the sour beers. I don't know, especially in the summer, it's almost like that fruity sour thing. I'm just loving it. Like if I'm doing a hard drink, I'm a Mai Tai guy. I had them in Hawaii. Oh, that's my mixed drink choice to go to. And I'm not a big drinker, so like one Mai Tai and I'm going to be wrecked. Exactly, Doge, yeah. And that's, again, another reason why my waiting is going to be perfect, because I will be guaranteed to get hardware 4 when it comes out. No, 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 no. The Warner Brothers, one makes beer, one will make wine. Yeah. I actually, when I was married, I wanted to make my own wine. I just never got around to it. Yep. Best car I've owned, Model Y long range. That's what I'm looking for. Model Y and the color that I want. Again, another reason to wait. The color that I want, the midnight silver, is now the free option. It's $1,000 I'm saving right there just because I waited. Yeah. IPA, Indian Pale Ale. Love it. Crisp beer, very hoppy, very people think it tastes like garbage. I don't. I like it. All right, folks, I'm going to get off of here. I got to go make dinner. It's getting late. Love you guys as always. I could chat with you guys all night long if I could, but my voice is going, and I got to eat because I got to go to actual work in the morning. Not cool, but hey, it pays the bills for right now. So love it. Love it, you guys. And we're ending this on 69 viewers on our 420 live stream. Couldn't be any more perfect. Absolutely love you guys. Oh, you guys are my favorites. I'll see you guys later. Not sure if I'll do a video tomorrow because I'm getting my kid, but we'll see how the market goes. Hopefully we go up again tomorrow.